Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello film fans, welcome to Quick Shot Reviews for Cheap Shot Entertainment. If you're watching this on YouTube, then please click the like and subscribe button. If you're listening to us on the podcasting channel on Spotify and others are available, then please do the same and join us for next week and the week after and week after. We try and post once a week on a Tuesday the films that we have seen. Now, this one was a screen unseen with my Odeon Limitless. An absolute bargain for anybody who absolutely adores films. It is the film called The Dead Don't Hurt. Now, it's a Western love story. So if you love Downton Abbey and things like that, this is definitely for you. A little bit of peril, a little bit of gunplay, bit of violence, and a lot of love story. For me, it's definitely not for me. It started off really well, that hook scene that gets you in. It's like, oh, right, cool. There's going to be a bank robbery. There's going to be a sheriff. There's going to be high noon and all that kind of stuff. Things that I would want from a Western. But instead, you got Downton Abbey in the wild frontier. It follows two homesteaders pioneers who set up their own little house. They fall in love, set up their own little house with the intention of being self-sustained. That's how things happened back in the day, and obviously it was during the Civil War. So basically, if you're a fan of video games and you've played Red Dead Redemption 2, then and Red Dead Redemption, then this is pretty much that, without all the cool stuff that goes in between, like the gunplay and stuff like that. It's written and stars Viggo Mortensen and Vicky Krieps. And they're the two main characters. The characters are a premium here. I didn't feel like the villain had enough villainy in him to make me sort of care. Obviously, there's some very disturbing scenes where things happen, and that obviously doesn't make me comfortable. I don't think he did enough. Also, the timeline of this film, it kind of skips. Like, I couldn't quite tell whether we were present day, whether we were in the future, whether we were in the past. And it kind of felt like someone had dropped the script and tried to piece it together bit by bit because someone hadn't put the numbers on the pages. That being said, it's not to say it's a poorly made film. It's absolutely not a poorly made film. It's a really well made film, and there is an audience out there for this kind of film. Downton Abbey did tremendously well here in the UK, obviously, and there's lots of people who love Downton Abbey and Grand Budapest Hotel and all that kind of stuff. Me, I'm not a fan of that stuff and never will be, but I understand there is that audience. Now, I saw this as a screen unseen, so I didn't know what I was going into. However, I was so bored by this. Like I say, it's not a poorly made film. The the locations are wonderful, and vocabulary wise, I would say it's pretty accurate. Obviously, I wasn't around that back then, but I would say it's fairly accurate for what I understand about that era, which is not a lot, but you know, it was a passion project. Someone gave Vigo a pot of money to go and do it, and it's officially 2023 film. So maybe at some point someone said, nah, we're not releasing that. So screen unscenes are, yeah, they're hit and miss, and I think this one is probably the first miss I've had, and I've seen about 5 screen unscenes since having my cinema card, and they've all been really good, and I've really enjoyed them up to this point. Yeah, like I say, there is an audience out there for this, but the screening I went to was pretty much full until about halfway through, when a load of people walked out. And quite frankly, if I'd have had, or if I'd have paid to see this film, I probably would have walked out and asked for a refund of my money, or at least a film voucher of some kind, because to me, it was awful. But, and this is a big but, when they do the action scenes, they are pretty good. The sound of this film, there is no sort of no background music or anything like that. It is desolate. It is a desolate love story. And I quite liked that, you know, the fact that there's no sort of action music in it or anything like that. It was meant to be raw, and I get that completely. So this is middle of the road. There's parts of it that I thought, yeah, okay, you know, this is not bad, but mainly it was just dull. It was dull. It was confusing, and personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Like I keep saying, if you enjoy this type of film, again, think Downton Abbey, then with westerns, then yeah, this one is going to be a good one for you, but it's not for me. And as ever on Quick Shot Reviews, if you want to go and see the film, go and see it. If it's out on general release, like I say, it was a 2023 film that didn't come out for whatever reason. So, yeah, if you want to see it, I'm sure it'll be out on streaming services or something like that. Then, yeah, absolutely watch it. Make up your own mind. But these are my thoughts and opinions on The Dead Don't Hurt. Confusing, dull, but lovely, lovely locations and great sound design for the locations that they were in and the story being told. And on that note, I will see you next time on Quick Shot Reviews for Cheap Shot Entertainment. We've got a very special one next time, and it may get released quicker than normally would. It is the 30th anniversary of The Crow, Brandon Lee's The Crow, the film that he infamously died in because someone loaded live rounds into a gun that they were using for the scenes. So it is the 30th anniversary of The Crow, and I've been to see The Crow on one of these special screenings. I went with my very good friend Ben, and he absolutely loves The Crow. He's got tattoos of Brandon Lee, and yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. So I'm glad I went to go and see The Dead Don't Hurt first, and then The Crow, because that picked me up a little bit. And on that note, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Hiya.